I've been doing travel therapy for about 2.5 years now, and honestly, it's been the best career decision I've made. But the learning curve was steep, and there are definitely a few things I wish I had figured out sooner. So in this video, I want to share the 3 biggest things I wish I knew before jumping into travel physical therapy. A good company and recruiter can make the whole experience. When you decide to jump into doing travel therapy, you find a company that fits you best. What company you decide to go with is very important because it'll determine which jobs you have access to, how many job locations you can choose from, your possible benefits, etc. But in my opinion, the recruiter the company places you with is even more important. These recruiters act as the ones that help you navigate and match to the jobs that you're looking for. Location, pay, setting, you let them know what's important to you, and they find the jobs that match what you're looking for. Now, there are literally so many different travel therapy companies, and it can be a little overwhelming to try and just find one. There are a few ways to find a good travel company, with the most obvious one being just doing your research, doing your Googles, and searching their websites to determine if what they offer fits what you're looking for. Personally, I think the best way to find a good recruiter is to just reach out to a travel therapist and ask for their information to their recruiter or recruiters that they usually work with. Maybe you follow one on social media, you know someone that was in your class that currently travels, or one currently works in your clinic. It cuts down a lot of searching and uncertainty to just ask for a recommendation. If you don't have anyone that comes to mind to reach out to, feel free to reach out to me. My email is in my profile bio, and I'll also drop it in the description box. If you don't have anyone that comes to mind to reach out to, feel free to reach out to me. My email is in my profile bio, but I'll also drop it in the description box below. I have primarily worked with one company, AMN Healthcare, and one recruiter. Now, you can maintain contact with multiple recruiters, and that can lead to maybe different opportunities that other companies can offer. But for me personally, I'm very satisfied with the one I've been with since I started, and I don't plan on changing. When you find one or maybe a select few recruiters you like, spend some time talking to them and see if you think that you can work with them. Some might be a little pushier than you'd like, some more hands-off. Again, find one that you can work with. But an extra word of caution, be careful just sharing your contact information with too many travel companies while you're doing your research. These companies will put recruiters in contact with you very quickly, and they can be extremely persistent. There are recruiters that I haven't actually talked or responded to since I started 2 years ago, and they still occasionally reach out through text, calls, and emails. And obviously, if too many people reach out, it can be very annoying at the least. So make sure you get in contact with companies that you're really interested in. How benefits and health insurance work. This is something I really did not even consider when I wanted to make the jump to travel therapy, but I should have. 401k investment, dental, vision, all that can be available through the company you end up working with. With travel therapy, you actually have a few options when it comes to your health insurance. If it's offered, you can go with a company health insurance plan. That's what I do because I personally think that's the easiest way to make sure that I'm covered. Now, just like other jobs I've had, I picked one plan depending on what deductible I felt comfortable paying when I do need to use my insurance. Healthcare.gov is also an option to find insurance. It's an online platform through the federal government and the ACA where you can compare and choose plans based on your household, your income, things like that. You're also more than welcome to get insurance directly from a company itself, but these first 2 options just seem so much easier. Now, this is where sticking to just one company works best for me. When you enroll in an insurance plan with one travel company, you know how their coverage works. I usually take off a couple of weeks between my contracts, but my company has a grace period where I stay covered. And I assume that this is the case for other companies too, but that's something that I definitely recommend checking into so you don't have any lapses in your coverage. Taxes. It's really easy to assume with travel therapy, you just have to show up, work, and make your money. But there's actually a little more to being a travel therapist when it comes to your pay. I actually talked to a tax person prior to starting travel therapy, and it was very helpful, so I'll always suggest doing the same. Because since I travel for work, the way I get paid is different. To qualify for the tax-free stipends that make up a lot of my take-home pay, you have to maintain a tax home, which is your primary place of business or residence, basically your primary home base. Per IRS guidelines, there are certain things you have to do to maintain your tax home. Duplicating your expenses or paying your bills and expenses at your home, plus wherever you work, returning to your tax home at least 30 days in a year, and conducting business in that same area of your tax home, like taking a job in that area. You have to do 2 out of the 3 to qualify for these tax-free stipends. Once again, I'm no one's tax expert or accountant that can go super deep into detail about this, but I had to learn about this when I made the jump into travel therapy, so anyone else interested will benefit from taking the time to learn and review these guidelines. So those are my 3 things I wish I knew before starting travel therapy. Again, what I get to do is great, but there's definitely more to the job than just jumping in, being in different cities, and making money. Let me know if you found this information helpful, and if you have any questions about maybe finding housing for your travel contracts, I actually made a video about that, and I'll link it right here. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.